What's up, guys? So, more news from Motorsport Games. So, we're going to take a look at this article, and of course, it wasn't going to be anything good. This is from Mike Straw at Insider Gaming. So, it says, according to sources, NASCAR 23 still in designing stage, release in question. Designing stage means they haven't started anything, it's still being conceptualized. So this is all further proof of what I've been telling you guys for the longest time. We're not going to get a game in 2023. It's all bullshit. First, they told us way back last spring, okay, almost a year ago, that they had already started development on the next game. When they first said that they were going to start from scratch, that was almost a year ago. Okay, less than a year. If you, it was sometime in the spring. So all throughout the rest of the year, I was under the impression that okay, they started some new game according to them. They told people they were starting from scratch. They were using a different physics engine. They were going to work with the KartCraft engine, and they already started development. That they had already moved on, and that they were going to release a game in 2022. Then they delayed it to 2023. So we found out back in October it was all a lie because they said after they released what they released for the free DLC, they came out and said, oh, we are now starting development on the next game. So right there, I already told you guys they were already lying to you. All along, they made it feel like they were all that game was already well in development. It wasn't, and now they're still in the designing stage, and we're midway through January, and supposedly the game is coming out sometime towards the middle or end of the summer, which is it's half a year away. So, how are you supposed to develop a game from scratch in 6 months? Anybody that believes that is a fucking moron. Okay? Captain Sleeveless is the only one who thinks, hey, they said there's a game coming. I'm going to judge everything based on the next game. He's not telling his viewers, by the way, chances are very likely we're not getting a game. The way things are going here, it's not going to happen. He's not going to tell people that. So let's read further into the article before I continue. With things continuously changing at Motorsport Games and lawsuits being threatened by developers, we already know they're not paying like 30 plus employees in Russia. Some of them actually moved to Georgia. Okay? They moved on at their own expense. They're not being paid. Anybody that would make that move after watching this company and how they operate, I gotta say, kind of deserves what they get. You should have known better. I'm gonna pull that back a little bit because when you're desperate, you know, you will do things that your brain is telling you something's wrong here, and you still take a chance. It's out of desperation. So I'm gonna pull that back a little bit. I do feel bad for these people because these people just lie, and then they put all of the responsibility, the financial burden on their own employees. The people actually that are supposed to be working on the product, they're not getting paid, but the people at the top, Dmitry Kosko and his minions, they are making millions of dollars off a floundering company. It's insane. This whole thing is insane. Okay, many gamers are wondering what's going to happen to current properties. They shouldn't be wondering because I've been telling people there's nothing coming. It's all bullshit. They are barely holding on to the license. I think they think they can parlay all the bullshit into an offer. There's only one major player out there waiting to step in, and that's iRacing. And if iRacing is smart, Why would they offer these people anything? These people are dying. You know, maybe, and this is a huge um, leap, right? They could be gambling and already working on something and just waiting for the license to fall on their laps. You know, that would be a gamble. Even though things look certain, I don't know if as a company I would ever make that kind of gamble because it takes time, resources, money to actually build something. And then what if that license doesn't land on your lap? What do you do? Um, as I've said, you know, I'm always open to. I don't have a problem with somebody creating a fantasy game that's unlicensed, but they would have to be willing to do that. Like I don't know if iRacing, if it doesn't have the NASCAR license attached to it, I don't know if they want to do that. I think there's value there. And if they're smart, they would see that. And I would just stick my middle finger up to NASCAR and everybody and say, I'm just going to make a generic stock car racing game and it's going to be the best thing ever. And nobody's going to care that it's licensed. That it's not a licensed NASCAR product that is all fantasy based. That's just me. But moving ahead, the follow-up to the 21 Ignition, NASCAR 23, is scheduled to be the next full release game by the studio after it only released a 2022 update to NASCAR 21 last year. However, a large amount of the team has been moved to work on the upcoming IndyCar game that's slated for a spring 2023 release. This has left things up in the air regarding NASCAR 23. So, supposedly this IndyCar game is supposed to come out in the spring. That's like 3 months away? 4? Maybe? So, I have no idea what's going to happen, but this is insane. So, they're not going to be able to do anything with a NASCAR 23 game. If they are really trying to push this IndyCar game out the door. And there's still people that are, hey, they told us it's coming, and that their roadmap hasn't changed. They don't even have the decency to at least tell people, look, it's gonna be delayed. We want to make sure that everything is right. You know, bullshit people, even to the point where they feel like, okay, it makes sense if they say it's being delayed. They're not even doing that. That's how little respect they have for your intelligence, that they feel like they can tell you this, and that even though it makes absolutely no sense, that this is impossible, that there's still people that are going to believe it. They have no respect for your intelligence. This is insulting. They won't even fucking tell you, hey, it's going to be delayed a little further. And we're working on something. They're just telling you, yeah, it's still coming. Everything's still coming on time. And we see all this happening. Someone did ask during a recent meeting what it meant for NASCAR 23. And they said they're not sure as it's still in the design phase. And it's not happening, guys. Design, stage, design. When pressed about why there aren't designs, it was said that there were, but then things changed within the company. Yeah, we know what changed. Their fucking reality changed. There's nothing happening. There's nobody working on the games. Their developers are not getting paid. They have no money. They're struggling to get more money, more capital invested in the company. They're fucking playing games with the stock market, just desperately trying to keep that stock alive on life support. The lead designer left as well, as team changes going on, and now it's being built on the back of Kartcraft and IndyCar. One current employee tells Insider Gaming that the dedicated NASCAR development team currently sits in the single digits. That means there's less than 10 people. What's more, they don't believe NASCAR will even see a release this year. Yeah, no shit. I've been telling you this from the start. will NASCAR 23 release? Another source speculated that if it does come, it's likely going to be a game built similar to IndyCar, but models would be swapped along with other changes to replicate the NASCAR experience. This doesn't even make sense either, because the IndyCar schedule and the tracks and the NASCAR schedule and tracks are nowhere near the same. Do they actually? Don't quote me on this. There may be a handful of tracks that they both use, but they're just completely ignoring all of that. And then they think they're just gonna plug in everything from Indy. They already plugged in everything from R Factor into 21 Ignition. How did that work out? Again, they don't have any respect for your intelligence at all. They feel like this shit is, and to be honest with you, I understand why. There's a lot of lemmings in the community who are going to read this and it makes sense to them. Oh, look, it's going to be built off of the IndyCar thing, and it should be real quick and easy to swap, and it'll be good. Based on the latest product timeline for Motorsport Games, NASCAR 23 is scheduled to be launched in mid-2023. That would place it at June or July release. With the game still in the designing stage in January, it raises questions about what will ultimately... It's not questions, it's a fucking reality. This is not happening. The same source who said the lead designer had left compared what's happening now to what happened last year with the NASCAR 2022 update. It feels similar to last year with 22 when they decided to make it a DLC, which was originally going to be paid. They said about NASCAR 23. Then about a month before the announcement and release, it changed to a free update. That's pretty much the article. Do you need more than that? This is fucking crazy. NASCAR, they have been hiding the entire time. They need to step up. They need to do something. The entire sport has been hampered from a lack of fresh blood. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the attempt to get new fans into NASCAR. Video games by far are the most effective, the biggest industry on the planet. You take the music industry, the movie industry, everything else in entertainment, and you put it together, and it doesn't come close to the video game industry. If you can't put out a decent NASCAR video game, you're not. Where are you going to get all these new fans to the sport? NASCAR survives on old generations of people. Take it from me, I go to one or two NASCAR races every year, and I can tell you firsthand, you look around, and the vast majority of people that actually go to NASCAR races, they're either grandparents or older generation parents. The only people inheriting this interest in NASCAR are the grandkids and the sons and daughters that are part of a long line of people who follow NASCAR. That's not enough to keep the sport alive. This is why NASCAR has gone down in ratings. Last season was not bad. The next gen car, I think, has been a big step in the right direction. We know it's not perfect. It needs work. But let's be honest, the race product was much better. And the ratings have shown a bump in interest. And hopefully that continues. But you need something else to bring people in. Okay? I went from a casual observer of NASCAR to a hardcore fan because of video games. And a lot of you watching this right now are probably in the same boat. It was playing the old NASCAR games that we all love so much that fed into our love of NASCAR. And a lot of people didn't fully understand what NASCAR was, right? You ask people that are casual at best, all they know is, okay, it's these cars that turn left, you know, and that's something that comes from people who have no idea what NASCAR is really about. The video games taught me what NASCAR was really about as a sport. All the little intricacies, all of the details. And that was way back in the early 2000s. And in the past 15 years, right, the end of the last couple of EA games, there was a steep decline. And then Eutechnics, we went through 5 years of that, 704, and now this. It's like it's been a 15-year run of just a downward spiral in games. We only had a decent bump in quality was with NASCAR Heat 4. Okay? That was the only real, legitimate push in the right direction. And then the next game, NASCAR Heat 5, I mean, I stopped playing it after a month, but so I'm sure that they were able to patch things and it's better. But when it came out, it was actually a step down. How do you fuck up a copy and paste rehash? Which we knew that's what it was. I predicted it. I told you guys that's what it was going to be, and that's what it was. But they also managed to screw a lot of things up. The condition of NASCAR Heat 5 was actually a big step down from NASCAR Heat 4. So, just going back, outside of NASCAR Heat 4, it's been just one garbage product after the next, bare bones iterations, and throughout all of that, the fan base has staggered in growth. So NASCAR has stood by. They hand out this license, these long fucking term deals. These people have the fucking license till 2029. These massive long-term exclusivity deals. It's insane. It's insane. Why would you give anyone that length of a deal when you have no idea what they're capable of? These people never created a game until NASCAR 21. And NASCAR is just standing by. They're not. This is destroying the NASCAR brand. Where are you going to generate this new generation of a fan base into NASCAR? You need to fix what's going on in the video game industry when it comes to NASCAR games. You got to do something. I don't expect NASCAR to be directly involved with game development, but the way they handle these licenses has been astronomically stupid. And they're trapped. It doesn't seem like they have an out. There has to be an out. There has to be a way they can pull this fucking license. But I don't know the inner details of this agreement. And NASCAR has proven that they're pretty fucking dumb when it comes to this stuff. Maybe they did. This Dimitri guy probably... This fucking con artist. NASCAR they're in trouble when it comes to the marketing and the brand. The brand is taking a beating from the video game industry side of things. Speaking of Dimitri, this guy is going to end up in handcuffs at some point. All the red flags are there. It's not... People think that you have to be a genius to con wealthy people out of their money. No, you don't. Just because people have money, it doesn't mean they have common sense. It doesn't mean they have business savvy. Some of these people inherited money. Some of these people just lucked into it. This is, this idea that if you have money, you must be intelligent. You must have earned it through hard work and just smarts. No, it's not. That's not always the case. Some of the biggest con artists in history have swindled some of the wealthiest people on the planet because of greed. These wealthy people You would think that they have more business sense. They don't. They're greedy just like everyone else. And when they think they can get in on something and get even wealthier, they all common sense gets pushed aside. So if you wonder why someone like Dmitry Kosko can continuously find suckers to invest, it's through bullshit. Everything they've done is bullshit. This game is still in the conceptual stage. Anybody with half a brain should look at this and steer clear of this. And yet, I wouldn't shock me if he found more lemmings to pour money in. And these people, you'd be shocked at how far they can get away with this shit before it all collapses. The red flags are all there. Let me show you this fucking weird bitch. She's finally in prison, right? I'm sure a lot of you know who this is. Elizabeth Holmes. She was the CEO of this Theranos company, which was supposed to be a way to, like an innovative way to draw blood, like one drop of your blood, and you could run all kinds of tests, and it was going to revolutionize the whole industry, the medical industry. And it turned out it was all based on bullshit. It was a scam. And another thing, all of these scam artists, they have in common, they're all fucking weird. The voice is weird. The fucking look, everything about them is like, if you met this person on the street or the subway, you would steer clear. Because you'd be like, there's something really fucking weird about this person. But when it comes to, you introduce money and the lie that you can make millions and billions because you have something, you have this promise that you got this golden product, and people just, they tossed all of their common sense to the side. Listen to this fucking woman.
What happens when you work to change things and first they think you're crazy, then they fight you, and
you are fucking crazy. And they should be fighting you because you're a fucking con. And you what is it with this fucking voice? And look at her eyes.
then all of a sudden you change the world. And I have to say, I personally was shocked to see that the Journal would publish something like this when we had sent them over 1,000 pages of documentation demonstrating that the statements in their piece were false.
She's in prison now, finally. But as she's explaining here, there were people blowing the whistle. Just like I have been, and people like Austin Oganowski, and other people, like we've been telling you guys, this fucking Motorsport Games is a big scam. It's just a lot of, it's built on promises, empty promises. A guy that never fucking developed games before. The one person who had any clout as a game developer with real experience, okay, Stephen Hood, was one of the first people to jump ship. But Captain Sleeveless wants to tell you that he was the problem. That there was a problem with him. The one guy with a resume that was legitimate. That he was the problem, that somebody told him, yeah, I wonder who that somebody was. But he won't tell you what the problem with Stephen Hood was. He won't tell you who this person was that told him that this guy was an issue. Meanwhile, the rest of this company, everything that you've been witnessing for the past year now, it's in your face, and it's this Stephen Hood guy was an issue. You know, I was told by somebody.
But we're doing things differently, and we're working to make a difference. And
you know how many people gave this fucking psycho money? They gave her billions of dollars. Some of the wealthiest people on the planet got suckered by her. Why? And they never created a working product. Like, the shit turned out to be it was this box that just it didn't work right. She's not the only one. Everybody knows about Bernie Madoff, another guy that built on lies, made billions and billions and billions of dollars. Also ended up in prison. Who's the other guy I'm thinking of? Hold on a second. Okay. Watch this. This is another guy. This is
If you want to
fucking-
make better videos, then you need better voiceover. Find every language,
Another con
role, and
artist
style you need
that
on
made
Voices.
billions and
Try it
billions
for free today.
off of investors.
Voices.
Oh, fuck you. All right.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Cold Fusion, where
Look at this
it couldn't
guy.
even drive itself, and none of the technology that he talked about even existed. But this
He's talking about this guy was supposedly going to create these hydroelectric trucks that were supposed to revolutionize the trucking industry. So zero emissions, right? And they were supposed to run between 500 to 1,000 miles without needing refueling. Okay? And you look at this here and wow, it looks, hold on a second. It looks impressive.
would only be the beginning of the lies. So how is everyone fooled?
Another fucking dirty, grimy con artist. Everything he said was a lie. The guy raised billions and billions of dollars.
And how could a man look so confident about his achievements while knowing that...
I don't want to go through this whole... Check it out. It's a Cold Fusion video. And it says how to lie your way to $34 billion. Nikola Motors fraud. Go watch the video. It's worth it. It's crazy. It's just the shit this guy did. Not one thing was real. Everything was built on lies. And for him to get away with this shit for years and raising billions and billions and billions, never had a working truck. It turned out they built this truck. It was just like a carcass on wheels. They rolled it up to the top of a hill, and they filmed it just going. It was really going like downhill. But when they filmed it, it looked like a truck that was actually just driving. And they got billions and billions and billions of dollars based on shit like that. And no one ever saw a working product. Anyway, my main point is these people are scammers. Dimitri Costco is no different than that bug-eyed, deep-voiced fucking Elizabeth Holmes. Or this fucking guy, the CEO of that Nikola scam. The company was called Nikola. Bernie Madoff. All of these people share the same thing. And the thing is, the length that they go to with their lies are so outlandish. It's like they don't even pull back on the lies. They don't keep it where it's realistic because they know that the more outlandish claims they make, the more people are willing to invest. Because people don't, they throw their brains out the window when money's concerned. That's how these people get away with it. So if you're wondering why people still invest, or this guy's still able to find people to invest money in motorsport games, it's because he keeps lying to them. He's promising a game in 6 fucking months. It's still in the design stage. They're not paying their developers. They're hemorrhaging money for a year. This is one of the worst companies I've ever seen. I don't know how this isn't bigger news, like in just outside the gaming industry. Like we know about it, but I don't understand. This is insane. If they actually release an IndyCar game, which supposedly is around the corner, I can't wait to see what a shit show that is. But I doubt you're ever going to see anything. This is just, none of it makes sense. And he's also facing lawsuits. These lawsuits go way back to even before they started developing NASCAR 21. It just, from the time they came into 704, there's so much going on. This is insane. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. More... why don't these people fucking die already? NASCAR needs to get involved at some point. You got to get lawyers. You got to figure out how to get out of this fucking licensing deal and pull the plug, because this is doing major damage to the brand, to the NASCAR brand. Why do you still want to be associated with this shit? It's insane. It's like, who the fuck is in charge at NASCAR? I guess of marketing, or whoever's in charge of the licensing and marketing side of things, what the fuck's going on over there? You don't have to be a genius to see that this is not good for NASCAR. This is why you don't have a steady flow of fresh blood coming into the sport. You know, I remember falling in love with NASCAR, and it was through video games. They either underestimate the power of the video game industry and the branding associated, or I don't know, maybe they're fucking all paid off or something. I already told you guys, Brian France is a big investor in Motorsport Games, and he still has a lot of pull at NASCAR. But there's a limit to everything. And even at some point, even NASCAR has to say, look, we're taking heavy damage because of all this shit. We need to step in and do something and figure a way to pull this fucking license. This shit is not working. And they're just silent. They're just along for the ride. The ship is sinking, and they're just standing there, sipping, margaritas, and just like they don't know what to do, or they don't care. Anyway, I look forward to your comments later.